Back from Board Game Co, and this is To Back or Not to Back, where we're going to be going through a variety of crowdfunding campaigns. As usual, I will have links to everything down below, and also, as usual, starting off with Cult of the Now. Cult of the Now is a segment where we take a look at a currently available campaign, because throughout this video we'll be taking a look at a bunch of crowdfunding stuff that is tempting, stuff that is expensive, stuff that won't show up for a year and a half or whatnot, and over here in Cult of the Now, you can get Junk Drawer, well, now, for like $26, with plenty of reviews out there to see if it's a game for you, without having to spend $170 to get a game 3.5 years from now, if 3.5 years from now. Sometimes it's a year, let's be honest, but other times it's a while. So Junk Drawer over on Miniature Market, if you want to check that one out, is a fast-paced polyomino game for 1 to 4 players in which you're going to be placing various polyominoes into various drawers to fulfill various objectives. That's going to be Junk Drawer over on Miniature Market. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the crowdfunding campaigns. We have a lot to go over, but first, regular reminder that I do work for Gamefound. Please take that into account as we go through this. I've been doing this To Back or Not to Back series for 3.5 years-ish now, but I started working for Gamefound last year, just taking that into account as we go through the campaigns. And to that end, let's go ahead and start off with board game adjacent. We have a bunch of board game adjacent stuff, including one that's particularly spicy, but starting off with the Gamefold, the first folding table designed for gaming. The Gamefold table is coming to you from Yarrow Studios, from Tana Yarrow. They've done a bunch of crowdfunding campaigns, and this gives you a foldable gaming table. Effectively, it's a standard folding table, but modified so that it's no longer standard. Instead, it's a game table, giving you a foldable game table. Basically exactly what it says. So yeah, there's a bunch of options over here, from $250 all the way up to be able to get whatever customizable version you want, but this is going to be one of the most affordable game tables I've seen, although I will say, you know, Game Trays, the company Game Trays, they announced Game Tables with a Y and a Z, because of course, that makes sense. But yeah, Game Tables will be coming. I believe price is starting at $150, but the problem is, we don't have a lot of information about that. So right now, the Gamefold, the first folding table designed for gaming, the video looks cool. Yarrow Studios does have a reputation behind them. They've done a bunch of these, like, you know, gimmicky, fun little things. They had the flip coin, I think that was them, plus, you know, they have those unfoldable dungeon maps and a ton of other things. So this is a company that does have a track record and a history, and 2,400 backers and $1 million raised, and that track record and history is very, very relevant, because the next one we have is the Toyozzo game table. If you're backing the Toyozzo game table, I'm not gonna say it's a scam. I can't possibly know it's a scam. And maybe not scam's the wrong word. I can't possibly say that the Toyozzo game table is something you won't see or get your money's worth or anything like that. I will say that any money I put into the Toyozzo game table, if I were, and I'm certainly not doing so, but any money I put into the Toyozzo game table, I would encourage you not to do so unless you are very not attached to that money. The Toyozzo game table puts together a video that looks very premium, and it puts together a video that has me scrolling down to look for the $1,000 price tags, and instead I saw the price tags that look like $250 for a game table. But this is not a folding game table. This is instead a more premium game table with LED strips and charger cables and all the things you can come to expect from your standard game table at a quarter of the price from a newcomer to the industry, from someone entirely new. And of course they're charging shipping, well, now as well, so you can be charged shipping and you can be charged for the table, and you may or may not ever see the table. And if you look at the comments over here, there's a whole lot of stuff about pinned comments they're posting, and they're not doing anything in terms of, you know, posting updates or properly in any way engaging with the community in a way that actually makes sense. So right now, the entire thing looks like a very shady mess. That's what this is. This is the entire thing. I'm posting this not to talk about the Toyozzo game table, because I don't think you should back it. I'm posting to talk about the fact that if you are backing the Toyozzo game table, just make sure you are not attached to that money, because you may never see it again. Now, to be very clear, anything in crowdfunding you may never see again. But in terms of gauging the risk of any particular campaign, as somebody who's been covering gaming Kickstarters for like 3.5 years now, the Toyozzo game table is possibly one of the scammier ones I've seen that's raking in $500,000. And again, scammier might be the wrong terminology. It could be overly optimistic in a way that's completely not realistic and still results in you getting nothing. That's not necessarily as bad in intent, but it's just as bad in terms of the execution. So again, back it if you want. Table, video looks great, but you know, I just don't think you're actually going to see anything here. So this is less about getting it and more about not getting it. Then we have over here, we have Margrave the Marcher Lords. This is technically a game, but we're going to talk about it here because it's more of a miniatures game. That's less my genre in general. But Margrave the Marcher Lords is going to be bringing you a miniatures game to your table. This is bringing you a miniature armies, like, you know, those kind of, like, you know, measured distance, put together miniatures, all those fun things. You can go ahead and spend a whole lot of money to go ahead, well, I think it's like £200 to get yourself a starting army, £500 to go ahead and get the all-in, and £1,000 to get the Gamefound exclusive lifetime, get everything they ever put out for this game, which, I mean, it sounds great. If that's sustainable, it's great. I wonder how many people actually went ahead and chose that. There, over here we have the all-in the lifetime pledge. 11 people chose the lifetime pledge, which means they'll get, you know, if this goes on for a long time, they'll get a great deal. And if it does not go on for a long time, they will, well, I guess not get a great deal. That's going to be Margrave the March Lords. This is a miniatures game. I don't know what necessarily makes it stand out from any standard miniatures tabletop game or whatnot, but, you know, looks cool. So, Margrave the March Lords. £22,000 raised, 48 backers, and it's going to be 18 days left to go from 3 sales studios. And then lastly, in the board game adjacent category, and also not funding, we have the Quest Compendium from Arcane Concepts. This one's currently not funding, although based on the track record, I'm skeptical that it will. We have 50 backers on this campaign, and I think a big part of that is that the Quest Compendium is coming to you from the people who brought you the Codex Silenda. They launched that on Kickstarter, did like $1 million plus or whatnot. The only problem is they had insane delays, lots of back orders, and just effectively what they offered to sell to you just took much longer and cost more, and then also went through the various pricing increases and shipping increases, all these things, and so it's just been dragging on for a long time. The Quest Compendium is arguably a better product, giving you a puzzle book that is customizable, that lets you put your pages into the book, lets you customize the puzzle for those who you're giving the puzzle to, so there's a lot more replayability, has more ability to actually put it together yourself, to tweak it yourself. There's a lot of good things. The only downside is, in addition, is because they've learned from last time, the price is also much higher than it was the first time round. So it's a different product at a more expensive price, hopefully getting it at a more reasonable time frame. But the Quest Compendium is basically going to be running as low as $200 for the traditional 5-page unassembled kit, where you have to assemble yourself. Alternatively, that same 5 pages assembled costs you $400 if you want that, and prices go all the way up to $1,200 for the 5-page Giga version, which is basically the same exact puzzle, just larger if you want that fully assembled. So the only problem here is the price points on this are just fairly expensive. Looks like a very cool, very premium escape room style puzzle, just at a price point that makes it seem like a very cool, very premium escape room style puzzle. The current traction on the campaign has me assuming that it will not currently fund. They need to cross $50,000, and we'll see how it goes, but that's going to be the Quest Compendium, a very cool puzzle book, but at a very less cool price point. Reasonable price point, just less cool. And then we start off with the various campaigns, starting off with Defenders of the Wild, 1,500 backers or 1,600 backers, $95,000 raised, 4 days to go. Defenders of the Wild is going to be a solo and cooperative game as you take on the factions of woodland creatures overcoming the various machines. Also, it's a rules-light RPG at the same time, so it's both, you know, same IP, same universe and whatnot, but very different ideas behind it. It's from the designer of Parks, Henry Ottoman, from the creators of Block by Block, so there's that trend of, you know, the resistance against the various things trying to overtake you. But the game looks very cool. If you go through the campaign pages over here, if you look at the various testimonials, there are a lot of people who are calling this, like, you know, the best co-op game they've played ever, the best co-op game they've played this year, possible best co-op game, this, that, the other. And make no mistake, I'm used to seeing a lot of praise on various Kickstarter crowdfunded pages, but I will say the praise on this one does seem better than usual, or I might just be biased by the fact that I'm a big fan of Henry Ottoman's works. I like Cosmic Octopus a lot, I like Parks a lot, and I'm very excited about Defenders of the Wild. So overall, Defenders of the Wild, cooperative solo, rise up against the machines, try to manage your puzzle in a push-to-luck tableau, building modular map, whole bunch of things going on here. They have a lot of keywords. If you scroll down over here, they got a bunch of fun keywords to look at. Maybe I scrolled past it already. I may have scrolled past it. I think we're up to the RPG. Oh, and the RPG I don't know anything about, unfortunately, so I can't talk about that at all. But yeah, that's basically what we got going on here over here. We have various stretch goals being unlocked, we have all those fun things, and we have a price point of $44 for the base game. That's going to be $44 off a $54 MSRP, plus of course shipping being charged on top of that, and if you've watched the show, you know what I'm going to say shortly. And then we have $80 for the board game Almanac Kickstarter exclusive, so going to be $18 with the $90 MSRP for both of these. And then the thing I'm going to say, the usual thing, is that ultimately, price point wise, you're looking at $12 for the $16 for the board game. So basically, you're saving $10 on the MSRP, but you're paying an additional $10 above the MSRP in order to get your hands on this. So not $10, I may have done the math wrong. You're saving $10 MSRP, but you're paying $6 above MSRP to be able to get this because of shipping. So effectively, you are paying more than MSRP once you factor in shipping, which you do have to factor in. Which means the same conversation about the should you back or should you not is going to be true for this as it is for many other games that I cover in this vein. When you're saving $10, you have to factor in, will this be available at retail? How much will it be available at retail? And ultimately, how much will it be down the road? Because right now, I think Defenders of the Wild looks like a very cool game, but I think it looks like a very cool game that you are almost certainly overpaying for. It is true. Here's the counter argument. It is true that this particular game, this particular company, does not have a wide retail release in general. The flip side of that is Henry Ottoman's games tend to be very popular, and they do tend to have very wide retail releases, so I think Defenders of the Wild is likely going to be picked up and have a wider retail release than Block by Block ever did. So there is a small caveat of, if you want to guarantee this game, if you want to support the designer, go ahead and get on crowdfunding. The flip side of that is you are almost certainly overpaying for the game compared to what it'll cost down the road. You're paying, you know, the $44 plus the $16 shipping, and down the road you're probably able to get it for closer in the range of $35 to $40, if that much. So you're just getting it at a better price if you wait to get this one down the road, with the caveat that it's not a guarantee. So will it hold its value? Skeptical it will, despite how excited I am for the game. Then we have Deep Rock Galactic Space Wing and Biome expansions. 8,000 backers, $1.8 million raised. This is coming to you from Mood Publishing, and this is bringing you the expansions to Deep Rock Galactic. The cooperative game based on the video game series of trying to gather the various ore you need, survive and fight against the monsters, level up, power up, go through a campaign or single-shot games, and this is continuing that, giving you expansions to the game that are going to give you new mission types, new terrain types, new space weeks, assignments, escorts, processing. You'll be able to connect the pump jacks and, you know, go ahead and process, almost like a very Minecraft style approach of just sending that ore back to your factory over here. Various challenges, upgrades. We have the biome expansion, which is going to give you 4 new biomes. You're going to have the magma, the fungus, the glacial strata, and the azure weld over here. You have eliminate missions, and you have new creatures, and then we have 2 mini expansions as well, giving you even more various miniatures over here. So we got bulk detonator mini expansion, and we have the Kurlock Tyrant Weed mini expansion. So this is basically just more content for a game that is very popular already. Currently this game is rated well on BGG. A lot of people have been very excited about this one. This is one of those Kickstarter games that does seem to have more of a appeal, or, you know, past the initial wave. There are a lot of people who are excited about this back when it was on Kickstarter the first time, and now that it's arrived, it's one of those ones that's showing up and people are very hyped and buzzed about this game. So this is one where the reprint doing well is not a surprise. And as far as the should you back or should you not, well, let's first talk about pledge levels. Pledge levels over here, we're going to have a few things. We're going to have $80 for the Space Week, €80 for the Space Week, €80 for the Biome expansion. We have €125 for the newcomer if you want the base game plus art prints and all that. We have €140, so save a little bit of money there if you get both expansions. We have €190 for all the new expansions, which is, again, that's a lot of money for just expansion content over here. You might want to start with the base game if you didn't already. We have the Collector's Choice, €235, and then the all-in, all-in down here, €330 for the newcomer's Collector's Choice, giving you basically everything over there for all the stuff in rock and stone and all those things. So, Deep Rock Galactic, should you back it, should you not? Will it hold its value? So first of all, aside from the general, you know, do you want to back this game? Like, if you're backing this for the expansions, then ideally you already know how much you like the game and you want to see what more stuff you want to add. If you're backing this for the first time, maybe starting with the base game is not the end of the world. And if you're wondering about whether it'll hold its value or not, based on the original crowdfunding campaign, this one does seem to do a decent job holding its value. This game, like I said already, is hard to get your hands on absolutely everything. The game is very popular. The game has a lot of premium, has a lot of fan base, it's got a whole video game IP and all that behind it, but it's not a good game on top of just having a video game IP. So it is one that I think is more likely to hold its value overall. Despite the high price point for everything, if this is a game that's not for you, you likely could get most, or if not all, of your money back. It doesn't seem to be going significantly above what people paid. In some cases it is, but I'd say the average is roughly what people are paying for. So this is a more reliable back if you are on the fence and just want to know if it's one that, you know, you can sell if it's not for you. That's going to be Deep Rock Galactic, a whole bunch of expansions for a very popular game. Moving on, we have the one card maze. 364 backers, 897 backers. This is a print and play expansion of exactly what it sounds like. It's a one card maze. It's a maze that goes in a card, and the card actually like flips. It actually, if you watch the video, this actually looks more intriguing than the premise sounds. I mean, it's a maze on one card that will take 2 seconds to solve. But no, because you have to turn the card and rotate the card and find the point where you can go ahead and turn the card again, because you have to be able to turn the card based on the ability to turn the card. You can't just turn it on its own. You have to be able to flip the card and go back and find your way and circle around. The mazes actually look fairly intricate, so it's not a simple like, oh, I'm just going to wander around for 2 seconds. It looks like a very interesting system that is very clever for the size, the portability, the price point, and all that stuff. Speaking of which, the price point is going to be incredibly cheap because it's a print and play game. You're going to be getting digital print and play files, so you can go ahead and print out these various 9-card mazes or whatnot, the various 9 mazes plus all stretch goals released. So overall, as far as should you back, should you not, will it hold its value? I mean, it's a print and play, so not really. But past that, if it's a game for you, if this is something that's intriguing to you, it's also very affordable, but obviously you have to print this out yourself. My big thing with this stuff is that I usually do not appreciate quite as much when I'm printing stuff out myself, just the final component quality. I mean, I guess it's my fault, but that's how print and plays tend to work. But that's going to be one card maze. Then we have Paragon Age of Champions, a relaunch campaign for Autocracy, I don't know how to pronounce that. The studios one. We have $9,671, 671 pounds raised so far, 141 backers. This was already on Kickstarter, and they already delivered, and they're now delivering, well, more of it. They launched on Gamefound, they had to cancel and relaunch, they're coming back over here, and this is giving you the feel of a CCG without any, or TCG, CCG, without any of the actual costs of a TCG, CCG, with both a solo mode, head-to-head mode, as well as, you know, well, no, those two things, solo mode and head-to-head mode, that's what we got over here as far as the game goes. You're going to be drafting your mercenaries, prepping your card rows, trying to balance where you place different people, tackling the enemy AI as they prep their own rows of how they're going to attack. They have a bunch of testimonial looking things on the campaign, but I will note both of those things are from the creator of the game and then the owner of the company. So just take those with a grain of salt, because these look like testimonials. Not to be very clear, they're not saying the testimonials, but they just look like very much like testimonial. They do say creator Paragons, which is good. And then lower down they have the same thing from the the founder of Autocracy Studios over here. Same idea. They look like testimonials, look very positive, but they are obviously from the source. Take that into account. Obviously, again, same disclaimer. I work for Gamefound, so take that into account as well as we go through this. But past that, that's basically what you got over here. You have a few pledge levels. We have £62 to go ahead and get the deluxe edition of the game, £34 to get the base game if you don't need all those playmats and extras, and then £74 to get all the various things, the game mats, the holofoil tournament cards, the card sleeves, all the various extras. Basically, if you want the game, that £35 is going to give you enough to be able to actually dive into the game, and the rest is various bling and assortment sort of stuff you can get your hands on. As far as should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value? I'm skeptical it will. There's not a ton of demand for this game. There are a bunch of positive ratings on this. If you look on BGG, there's a handful of ratings. They are fairly positive, but the flip side is there's a small enough amount of ratings that I take that positivity with a grain of salt. When a game is like a 9.0 on BGG and there's like 500 ratings, that means something to me. When a game's a 9.0 on BGG and it has like 7 ratings, it's just too small a sample size. It's easy for 3 people who are friends of the company to rate it. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm saying it's too easy for a few ratings that will like ask to rate the game or whatever it is to just have too large of an effect on the sample size. Does the game look cool? Yeah, sure, it looks cool. Does it look like it's, oh my gosh, the next thing is going to replace Magic the Gathering? I'm always skeptical of any game that's replacing Magic the Gathering. Whether you're Lorcana with, $2 million of support behind you, or whether you're a small company with whatever, I'm skeptical that anything is replacing Magic the Gathering for most people. Some might try, some might do a good job for an individual level, but this individual level, like one of the reviews I saw for this game was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to think this thing will replace Magic for many people. And I'm like, maybe for a whole bunch of small amounts of people, not for large sample sizes of people. That's going to be Paragons Age of Champions. I'm just skeptical it holds its value because between multiple crowdfunding campaigns, there's just not a ton of demand for this, even though it does look fairly cool. Moving on, we have Forage, the final installment of the 9-card Solitaire game trilogy. I'm intrigued that they're calling it the final installment. Both games have done decently well. I'm curious why they're, locking it in. But we had Orchard, we had Grove, and now we have Forage, which looks to be very similar to those past games if you've played them. So all the games are somewhat similar. They basically involve overlaying cards onto each other. I believe Grove and Forage have an interesting system where it's not just about beating your own score, but rather they also give you specific goals, which I like a lot, because this is a solo little game of trying to be able to, overlay cards and up the various dice values based on overlaying the right terrains over the others. So it's all about finding those combinations. Forage adds a few new things, such as those multi-level terrains over here, which give you more flexibility, but don't necessarily improve the value of the die on their own. So they give you flexibility, but at the cost of actual growth. The flip side is the dice are raising at higher values than you're used to if you used to Grove. And again, like Grove before, it's going to give you either a solitaire, beat this score kind of level, or alternatively also, also get points from these things in order to win kind of situation, which is always my preference. So, a fun little solo puzzle game if you're interested in that thing. Currently, we have 2,200 backers, $34,000 raised, 10 days to go, and it's coming in at a price point of $15 for the game, which is a good time to talk about the should you back it, should you not, will it hold its value. Short version is this game is fairly popular, but like most small card games on Kickstarter, on Gamefound, on wherever, these things don't hold their value quite as much. Right now you can get, I believe, Grove on Amazon for $16, and Amazon's never the best price point for things, but that's $16 for Amazon, and Forage is going to cost you more than that, or Grove originally cost you more than that once you factor in the cost of the game, as well as the cost of, shipping and all that stuff. So you can go ahead and get this game now if you want to lock it in early, support the publisher. You're probably only paying a few dollars more to get your hands in it, but it's likely not the cheapest way to get your hands in it, and it almost certainly won't hold its value. Smaller games just have a very hard time doing so just because of the cost of shipping, the cost of sending on to the next person. So it looks cool. Oh, and you can pay $25 if you want to get your name on the inside of the box as well. So that's another option over there. That's what we got for Forage over here. A fun little game, a follow-up to Grove. I really like Grove. I thought Grove was very charming, very well done, and Forage looks like it might even be slightly better. It looks like it's the same system, just, iterated a drop further to give you a little bit more interesting decision space. Plus, I like the theme a bit more. I don't know why, but I don't know, something about the mushrooms and the foraging as opposed to Grove. They're both fine. They're basically similar games. Just, think Ticket to Ride and Ticket to Ride Europe. I think most people consider Europe better, but this is a whole different conversation we're not going to get into. We're going to move on to the next one, which is Aberration by Ghostfire Gaming. $823,000 raised, 607 backers. A disclaimer that in addition to working for Gamefound, Aberration or Ghostfire Gaming did engage in paid content around this game, so take that into account as we go through this. They did a playthrough and a preview on the channel. But Aberration is a cooperative tower defense bag building game that is going to basically have you trying to face off against the darkness, trying to make sure the fear does not rise before you ultimately achieve your victory, as you have these various outposts that you're trying to rescue and salvage, you're trying to accomplish various goals along the way, and meanwhile various enemies are slowly creeping towards you. The darkness is creeping towards you. Designed by Peter Lee, the designer of Horrified and Lords of Waterdeep, but this is going to be a cooperative tower defense, bag building, highly asymmetric player powers cooperative game. So a lot of keywords and buzzwords, but they are all true. The game is going to have you picking a role and picking a specific class that goes hand in hand with the role, which is going to define how your character operates. Meanwhile, you're going to be building out your bag, trying to choose as you level up and gather XP, trying to choose how you build out and develop your character, as well as the various abilities you're going to unlock. So there's a lot of asymmetry going on to this experience. Meanwhile, every single round you're going to have various darkness tokens or whatever, shadow tokens spawning that represent the creeping darkness, but eventually as you get closer to them or as they hit the light, you'll be able to find out what exactly it is that's moving towards you in the darkness. But the enemies are also powering up across the entire game, but also as you try to, as you have bad things happen to you, you do get increasingly more powerful too. So it's one of those games where as the bad stuff happens, you're getting more powerful. So it leads to a nice ramping up effect where you hopefully ultimately achieve your victory and goals, or alternatively die a horrible death represented as like, you know, resetting and starting again. That's going to be basically what's going on in Aberration. Aberration is going to come in a miniatures and a non-miniatures version. So if you want more of a standee version at a lower price point, if you want the full miniature set, there's also going to be a ton of various, not a ton, there's going to be like 2 expansions. There's going to be a Spellcasters expansion and then the honking thingy. Well, let's see, where is it? We have the great, no, that's part of the game. We got the heroes over here, various heroes you can have. You have your, over here, where's the Spellcasters? Where is the Spellcasters expansion? Somewhere over here. We have the Spellcasters, giving you the new monstrosity in the game, the Druidnol. We have over here, we have the hero, the Ithral, and the Lyra, giving you 2 new heroes for the game, as well as classes, spells, and items. By the way, the spells and items are a lot of fun as well in the game. Lots of, like, these were a lot of fun to go through. Like, these things over here give you just a ton of powers and abilities in ways that continuously mix up the game. We have the Honk of Doom expansion, giving you more monstrosities, the giant Gazdra. And then we have, you know, obviously the very Gazdra geese over. You have to have the Honk of Doom. I just like the concept of the Honk of Doom. And then we have a nice comparison of the Deluxe versus Basic. Basically, it's primarily going to be the miniatures box, and then the Deluxe player bag is going to be the main difference between the Deluxe and Basic versions of the game. To that end, as far as the various pledge levels, we have $149 for the Deluxe Edition, $79 for the Standard Edition, $99 for Standard Edition with Spellcasters, Deluxe Edition plus Spellcasters is $185, Deluxe all-in is $249, so a bunch of ways to spend money over here, and you could get all those various add-ons as well separately if you want to pick them out. They have a bunch of stretch goals of the various things being added, and they've actually been very, very engaging with the community. If you look at the updates, they've been talking to the community, they've been adjusting various price points based on the community, they've been adding various extras based on what the community seems to value. So Ghostfire Gaming is doing a great job of interfacing with the community and figuring out what it is that people want. You know, you want those upgraded wooden tokens for $20. I think they're included in the all-in. I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, they're included in the all-in over here. So $249 plus, of course, shipping and everything else to get absolutely everything for the game. So that's basically what we got for Aberration. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? I'm skeptical it will. It's hard to say for sure with any of these deluxe games, but just looking at the price points on this, again, the basic version of the game is coming in at $79 plus shipping for a standard version of the game, and that's just a higher price point than you typically see in retail for this kind of thing. So it does seem like it's on the pricey side for the game. Now, I did enjoy the game, but like there's enjoying the game. I enjoy the game a lot, but there's enjoying the game, and then there's the price point, and I'm just skeptical that this one will hold its value, just given how expensive it is relative to the content. I mean, if you're looking at that, where's that breakdown of the various options over here? So you're looking at, where is it? Note, over here, we have 19 monster standees, so like 19 miniatures in the game. It's not a ton of miniatures. So the overall quantity of what you're getting versus the price point just makes this a harder one overall. I do think it's a very good game, which is the one redeeming factor to it, which is designed by Peter Lee, who has a solid lineage behind him. So I think those are the possible redeeming factors that might change how this is received down the road, but ultimately I think Aberration is a very good game that does have a pricier crowdfunding price point to it, which can affect how well it does on the secondhand market if it's a game that it doesn't end up being for you. So Aberration, a fun game, a game I recommend, but also a game that may not hold its value if you get it. Moving on, we go to Cretaceous Rails. Cretaceous Rails from Oh my gosh, Spillcraft Games. 752 backers, $85,000 raised, 16 days to go. Cretaceous Rails is a medium weight Euro game for 1 to 4 players where you build a rail, time travel to like the Cretaceous era, and basically have a bunch of tourists parading around the board in any particular way. You can check out my review on this if you want to see a full in-depth review. You can check out a variety of content in the game. But overall, Cretaceous Rails is a game I really enjoyed, and not paid content, by the way. Not paid content that one at all, but I really enjoyed Cretaceous Rails. I thought it was very, very, very well done. Like, very satisfying. Just it's powerful. Everything in the game is so ridiculously powerful. You only have 16 actions across the whole game, but the things you do with those actions, you're constantly just ramping up how much you can get done in the experience. I really enjoyed it. The people, my game group in general, just really enjoyed this one. Had a lot of fun with just how drastically things escalate in the game and how tight all the actions are. You're gonna be getting a whole bunch of dinosaur miniatures, the train engine miniatures, the various tourist miniatures, and there's all one version of the game. There's not going to be a bunch of additional versions for the game. And the price point of this is going to be coming in. Oh, the basic idea is you're taking this action grid over here. We are taking your executives and pasting them on the intersection between two tiles to be able to take the effects on those tiles and then use those effects to be able to just do a ton of things, to move your train around, to build more tracks, to build various buildings, to just do anything and everything. There's only like a handful, like 5 or 6 actions in the game, but the combinations of those actions and the way you build up your strength, because as you build these cards, you're going to be getting progressively stronger and stronger actions, so that, hey, we're going to go ahead and capture a dinosaur action. If you time it right and you do the things in the right order, suddenly that's capturing 3 dinosaurs, and so that everything just escalates rapidly in the game. The game's going to be coming in at $79 for the core game, and $109 which is going to include the Cretaceous Skies expansion, which I sadly did not have a chance to play with, and I'm very intrigued by that one, because that just gives you more ways of escalating things. If we scroll down to the Cretaceous Skies over here, we have the, where is it? Cretaceous Skies. Oh, there's also a solo mode, which I did not have a chance to play that one either. It's free for all backers, so if you want the solo mode for the game. There's also the exclusive edition, $199 for the Cretaceous Skies expansion, which gives you a bunch of Pterodon miniatures over here, that you're going to be gathering those, placing them onto cards, which escalates actions even further, giving you, perceptually from what I see over here, it seems to be giving you like, when you do these actions, you get that additional benefit as well. So again, it gives you even more ways of escalating or magnifying the way things ramp up in the game. So the way they put it is a rules light, but strategy heavy expansion that just gives you more things to consider and escalate. And also, I'll say that over here, they also have the variable start and end game scoring modules. That looks fun. Haven't played with that. They also have the 5th executive expansion. I don't know if I'd want to play the game with 5 player. And then the variable player powers expansion for $8, giving you a bunch of variable player powers, which my only complaint is I'm sad that, first of all, the price point of this is like, they say there's 4 characters with their pet dinosaurs. 4 characters for $8 seems not the best, but I will say I had these and I really enjoyed playing with these. So I like the variable player powers expansion, but also they seem a bit pricey. Like, can you just like double it to make it like 8 characters, 8 variable player powers? Obviously, that involves balancing and all those fun things that are not quite as fun. And $49, we have the Neophene playmats if you want to replace the player boards with those instead. That's going to be the Cretaceous Rails from Spillcraft Games. Overall, I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a very, very fun game. I liked it a lot. I thought it was just everything combined very, very nicely to give me a very fun game experience, a nice midweight Euro that plays well at a bunch of player counts and just feels powerful while you're doing so. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? Again, I'm skeptical it will. I think price points on some of these things are just like harder things to justify. Now, this game does come with a lot of miniatures, so there is that in its favor. So it has like, not like amazing miniatures, whatever it is, but solid miniatures. At the end of the day, you have like, what was it, 44 dinosaurs, a whole bunch of trains, a bunch of tourists, and some more dinosaurs. They give you a lot of content in the game relative to what the price point is, but it still is a pricier game. It's coming in at the price point of a Lacerda game without the reputation of a Lacerda game behind it. So I think that this is a game that people will like. I think this is a game that's going to be hard to track down. I do think that I'm a little skeptical that it'll hold its value overall. I don't think it'll do terribly, but it's just $109 for this. It's just a harder justification for a midweight Euro game that doesn't have that, gravitas behind it. That's going to be Cretaceous Rails. Moving on, we have League of Dungeoneers expansion and second printing. There's going to be 429,000 euro raised, 3,300 backers. This is coming over on Gamefound. This is a reprint and second edition of League of Dungeoneers. This, I believe, originally was a print and play, then they launched on Kickstarter. They did incredibly well over there, and they're coming back for a second print run, as well as, I think, some tweaks, some updates. Let's go ahead and scroll down. This is basically a dungeon crawler that is this is a dungeon crawler genre that I've never been good at explaining or appreciating quite as much. It's very much a old school dungeon crawler. We're going to have pen and paper, upgrading and building your character. You're going to have almost more RPG elements than, a massive Darkness style, miniatures fest game. Speaking of which, this is miniature agnostic. You can go ahead and use whatever miniatures you want from whatever system you want, or just use the standees that the game gives you. But this game is going to be giving you, the ratings in this game, I think is like an 8.8 on BGG. People like this game a lot and are big fans of this, very much for that old school dungeon kind of approach. You can have Drive Through Games covers it. They also have, oh my gosh, what's the The Dungeon Dive covered, I'm sure, I believe. The Dungeon Dive over here. League of Dungeons is an excellent game. The questing is absolutely fantastic. There's a ton of positive reviews and opinions around this game. Very much just like there's tons of the rules, like there's rules, the best I never know how to say that. Lots of content, lots and lots of things for this game. That's going to be League of Dungeoneers. As far as the price points for the game, we're going to have over here, we have the King Pledge for €175. We have the upgrade kit for €15. If you have the first edition of the game and you want those small tweaks and adjustments. We have the False Prophet expansion for €45, and we have this is going up, the Knave over here, we have the Queen, we have just more of these various pledge levels over here. That's going to be what you have as far as the League of Dungeoneers. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? I think overall yes, but not necessarily by a very large amount. If you look at the original campaign over on Kickstarter and what those games have been selling for on eBay or the PGG market, for the most part they do seem to be holding their value. It's again not 100% across the board, but overall the game was not on the cheap side, but the all-in from the first campaign is doing a decent enough job at holding its value, just because again, you know, not a lot of opportunities to get this outside of crowdfunding, and just the reviews and testimonials and opinions in the game are just incredibly solid. So it's going to be League of Dungeoneers. If it's one that you are interested in, I think that for the most part it'll hold its value. Prices have gone up a little bit in this campaign, but I still think overall it is a safe back if it's a game that's not for you. Moving on, we have Diatoms. Diatoms, 623 backers, $28,000 raised, a Cardboard Edison Award winner, 17 days to go. Diatoms is a puzzly tile placement pattern-making game based on the obscure Victorian art form of creating microscopic mosaics out of algae, right? Not algae. It's algae, right? Algae. Why can I not pronounce words when I'm doing videos? Anyways, Diatoms. The core concept of the game is going to have you placing various tiles down. Let's see if we can scroll down. You're going to be placing various... Let's scroll down, see if there's any things. Here you go. You're going to be placing various tiles down. So over here, you're going to be gathering water tiles, place them on the board. You're going to be looking at the intersection of where you place the tile, and that's going to define what various pieces you can take and put into your diatom. And the reason you're doing that, so again, you're placing a tile down the board, you're seeing which pieces you gather, you're placing those onto your diatom board, and you're doing that based on the various, the guest judges you're going to have in play. So you have a bunch of judges that are giving you criteria, and so that's what you're going to be thinking of if you've played games like Canvas or whatnot, where you have like, ooh, you know, I want to see these things and I want to see those things, and so you're trying to build out your diatom based on what the various judges want, and then you're trying to get those pieces based on the way you build out your board. So there's multiple levels to this, and if you are fans of games like Canvas or Calico or whatever, these style of games, this is very much going to have that vibe of giving you a satisfying, puzzly, fulfilling aspect of just things to juggle and balance while you try to figure out your pathway forward to get as many points as possible. So overall, this very much calls to me. This very much appeals to me. I'm a huge fan of Calico, a huge fan of Canvas, and those styles of games in general. So it's very much, and the fact that it's getting the Cardboard Edison Award winner, the fact that the testimonials, the reviews are very positive, very much has me excited for the game, with the caveat around the price point. You see, for $5 you can follow along, backer invites, all those things. For $12 you get digital diatoms, so $45 you get the base game over here, and for $85 you get double diatoms, which just sounds like a fun little thing. But $45 for the base game is going to be the core aspect over here, because shipping is going to run you an additional $10 to $15 on top of it, which puts it at a price point that's higher than Canvas and higher than Calico, and it does match up with a first-time creator, with a small publisher, but at the end of the day, this is one that I am skeptical will hold its value. It is one that I'm very interested by. I think it looks very cool. I think the concept looks cool. I think the gameplay, mechanics, all those things very much resonate with me, but I think the price point makes this one that is... I hope this one gets picked up by a publisher and, you know, shows up and sticks around, because it does look very cool. I think that... I guess I'm stuck in this game because it looks very much like it's being priced and built based on a small publisher, but I think this could do very well in the hands of an AEG, in the hands of a Flat Out Games. This kind of game system feels like it could really resonate and do an amazing job. That's going to be Diatoms, a game that looks very cool, a game that I'm personally very interested in, and a game that I am skeptical will hold its value just based on the price point of what the game is. Then we have Hello Kitty, A Day in the Park, 1,400 backers, $104,000 raised, 18 days to go, from Maestro Media, Hello Kitty, and from the designer from Verta Taylor, who's done Creature Comforts and the follow-up game as well, and another few other games as well. But either way, Hello Kitty, A Day in the Park is going to have you spending time with your friends as you wander around the board, just moving from place to place, gathering various symbols in order to fulfill various cards. You have a bunch of cards you're trying to fulfill, and it's a friendly game. If you land on a spot with your friend, you both high-five each other, and you both get various rewards and benefits. So it's very much a friendly, peaceful, tile-laying, order fulfillment kind of contract fulfillment style of game. But it looks like it's, you know, contract fulfillment for, you know, gateway gamers or whatnot. So it looks charming, looks accessible. The game, the campaign is going to have the retail edition for $30, and the $60 exclusive edition, which is going to give you a few extras, I believe some acrylic extras and things, acrylic standees or tokens, so a few extras over there. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? it's always hard to say on things like this. Maestro Media in general, they have a more of a mass market audience behind them, and those things are always tricky based on the IP. For the most part, the standard advice would be that this game is likely not going to hold its value. Wait till retail, pick it up then. But deluxe editions of these things are always trickier when you have an IP like Hello Kitty. Will that fan base show up for a $60 deluxe edition trying to hunt it down on eBay after the fact? I think it's a risk. It's possible for sure, but I definitely think it's a risk. So Hello Kitty, I'm going to say get this one at retail because it's less likely to hold its value, but also hard to say 100% just based on the, you know, being an IP and all that. Moving on, we have Merchants of Magick, Dangerous Business plus Draught of Dragons. 962 backers, $46,000 raised. Merchants of Magick is bringing you 2 new expansions, which is going to be the Dangerous Business, which gives you more of a kind of backing of your adventure. You're going to have, like, if you played Merchants of Magick, it's basically an order fulfillment game, which is a roll and write order fulfillment game. You're going to be rolling dice that are going to define the way you power up the things you're good at. What are you better at crafting in? What kinds of enchantments do you throw on your weapons? Which orders can you fulfill in the game? Meanwhile, you have a little adventure on the side that you're also kind of sponsoring, so to speak, or giving them various goodies. And Dangerous Business is going to be taking that to the next level, giving you a much more effusive, expansive board of the character you're trying to help, help their way through the game. Meanwhile, Draught for the Dragons is going to give you a bunch of modules for the game at the same time, so you can have a bunch of modules being mixed into the game, giving you more things you can do in the experience. Both of them together combining with giving you just a ton more stuff you can do in the Merchants of Magick roll and write universe of trying to become the best goods fulfiller, crafter, weapon crafter, armor crafter, doing all those fun things in the game. That's going to be Merchants of Magick. The price point for the game is going to be $19 over here, which is going to be a $30 MSRP, save $11, but remember that. We have Draught of Dragons, $30 MSRP, but save $11. Again, remember that, so you're saving $22 off the MSRP so far, and the base game is $29 as well, save $11 again. So saving $11 across the board for all of those, but then of course, one game expansion is going to be $8, all the new stuff $10, and the complete shopping bundle is going to be $12, all of that. So it very much depends on what you're getting over here, because you are saving on the MSRP, but you also have to factor that in for the shipping as well, meaning if you get a single expansion over here, then you're basically paying the full MSRP, which means you can get it cheaper down the road. Once you're getting 2 expansions, sure, you're actually saving 10, 11 bucks, but that's going to put it roughly par with retail, so you're basically just paying ahead of time to get the same thing you get your hands on later. If you're getting everything, at that point you're saving enough that it's almost certainly worth it if you're going all in on this one. If you're getting 1 expansion, I'd encourage waiting to retail. If you're getting everything, I'd encourage getting it here. And if you're getting just the new expansions, you're probably paying roughly the same price, but at least you are supporting the creator, but you are laying out the money a year in advance. As far as will it hold its value, will it not? I'm skeptical it will. Merchants of Magick is a good game. It is a semi-popular game, but not so popular that overall it's done a great job in the secondhand market. So it is a good game. It's part of the Set A Watch universe. It is not Set A Watch. It is not compatible with that, just part of the same universe and all that. But Merchants of Magick is a roll and write game that's going to give you a lot of things to consider. The expansions are going to give you more things to consider. I do like and recommend the game, just, I don't think it's going to do an amazing job holding its value, although if you're getting more than 1 expansion, then at that point you may as well support the creator and get it over here. Moving on, we have Tiny Mini Golf, a print-and-play roll-and-write game for $609 backers, $4,500 raised, 20 days to go. This one actually is a fascinating concept in the sense that this is 2 phases to the game. The first phase is you design and build a mini golf course. The second phase is you each pass each other, or if you're playing with more players, I guess go round robin or whatever it is, but you pass the other players the various courses you've designed and have them try to fulfill it. So you are first designing a course that's challenging for your opponent, and then actually trying to fulfill that course on your own based on rolling the dice, judging your shots, trying to make sure everything goes there. So very interesting double-sided aspect of things that looks very intriguing. That's going to be the core concept of this game. Price points are going to run you around $4 for the core pledge. If you want the 3D printed dice, because you do need dice over here, so you can either put stickers on dice or something like that. But if you want 3D print files, you're basically paying an extra $2 to get those print files for the 3D printed dice, but you also need to print them as well. And if you want the premium all-in pledge, which gives you some extra things like the Tiny Mini Golf Course base game, that is the special 3D print files, the portable player sheet, that's what it was. The portable player sheet that's going to give you a few extra dollars to be able to get your hands on absolutely everything for the game. As far as should you back, should you not, will it hold its value? No, I mean, it won't hold its value because it's a print-and-play game, but if you are looking for an interesting version of a print-and-play game, this one does look very interesting, very compelling. The design actually reached out to me to cover this one. I was very pulled in by this. I just don't do a lot of print-and-play coverage. I find that when I do, I don't know, print-and-plays just aren't my jam. I think that they're phenomenal for the gaming space, but I like physical components on the table in front of me. I just find that, so I'm not as much the target audience for them, but Tiny Mini Golf definitely looks intriguing. That's going to be Tiny Mini Golf, and that's it. We're going to move to the next one now. 99 Ninja, a Micro Dojo game. $11,000 raised, 344 backers. This is coming to you from the creators of Micro Dojo and other games as well. But 99 Ninja is going to have you placing ninja tiles to surround your opponent's to surround your opponent's daimyo in the game. There's going to be a solo mode as well as a head-to-head mode. I'm pretty sure there's a solo mode. I'm 99% sure there's a solo mode, but I'm not 100% certain, so let's take that. Here we go. 12 solo mode cards. I thought there was. I cover a lot of campaigns, and sometimes I'm like, I say something confidently, and I'm like, was it this campaign? Was it? I don't remember anymore. Either way, this is going to be a game where you're basically going to be placing down various, you're going to be drawing various cards, and then orienting them so you cover each other's ninjas in order to be able to surround the daimyo and get as many points as possible before you head into the final showdown of the game. The game is going to come into it with a $15 basic version of the game, as well as a $60 limited edition ninja box version of the game that goes nicely on your shelf. Not nicely at all. I hate this. I can't stand it personally. On a personal level, like they show a little like video of like someone having this ninja on the shelf. Like, give me a box that fits. Like, I have a lot of games. I need them all to fit like in standard versions of them. There's only a handful of limited real estate for like things that are like, I don't know, fun things behind me. That's a side point of a personal preference. If you want a 60 pound, you know, why is that? No, they're all pounds. I was going to say, why is $1 another pounds? They're all pounds. They're all pounds over here. 15 pounds for the 99 Ninja, and 60 pounds if you want the giant limited edition, 99 numbered limited editions of this, 33 of each color, just like in the base game, which I thought was funny. There are like 99 ninjas in the base game. Fun little thing over there. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? Oh, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Look at this. Look at this. This is like, it's cool. It's just not for me. That's just not for me. But it's very cool if you want that. Either way, as far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? Same thing as usual, small box games. Small box games just have a very, very hard time holding their value on crowdfunding. Just once you factor in shipping, it just makes them very, very hard to stick out. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Button Shy or whoever else. And so yeah, 99 Ninja, I'm skeptical it'll hold its value, but if you are interested in this one, by all means, pick this one up. And then from there, we have one last campaign to cover. The Shivers expansion, Triple Terror. 1,500 backers, $154,000 raised, 23 days to go. This is bringing you 3 thrilling new expansions for the pop-up mystery universe of the Shivers. The Shivers is exactly what it sounds, well, not what it sounds like, exactly what I just said. It's going to be a pop-up mystery book game, half escape room, half RPG, half tabletop game. Yes, that is true. That's 3 halves. That's 1.5 of a game over here. We have the world's first pop-up mystery adventure. This is going to give you a pop-up mystery. So it's giving you like an interesting element where you go through this and you pop things up and then you go through the escape room aspects of it. And it combines various aspects from various puzzles. So you're going to have the game builds off itself to a degree, being able to incorporate aspects from different rooms as you go through it. The original base game was on Kickstarter, and they had a base game, and then the deluxe edition, which included the first 2 expansions. The reason that's relevant is because over here we have a few options. We have the $65 core game, which is going to give you the core game. We have over here the 3 new expansions, the $85 for the 3 new expansions, and this is the big deal over here. If you bought the core game at retail, if you just bought the core game, the 3 new expansions are not good enough. You need expansions 1 and 2, which were the deluxe edition of the game. So fact that in requires core game and expansions 1 and 2. You have to play procedurally. It builds off the stuff it does. So don't get this unless you got the deluxe version of the game. But over here, we have $175 to get you the all-in on the Shiververse, to get you absolutely everything for the game if you want all of that. So again, just factor that in for the whole deluxe version aspect of things. Past that, as far as well, that's a big one over here. Before we get into anything else, a big one to cover is the fact that shipping is going to run you $27, I believe. If I scroll down over here, we have shipping all the way. We have a bunch of add-on shipping. $27 for USA, $35 for Canada, $37, depends on what you guess. If you want the core game over there, or well, it's the same price for everything. $27 flat across the board for all those things. So overall, and they are only estimates, but still that's a big deal because that core game at $65, I mean, it's a good price point because right now in miniature market, it's, $75. But the flip side of it is you're getting this, you're getting, your $27 shipping on top of that. So at that point, just get it from miniature market and pay less money for it. The flip side of that is if you're getting all in over there, you will be able to go ahead and get $27 regardless of which pledge, roughly shipping estimates, all of that. So at that point, it changes the conversation. But overall, as far as should you back or should you not, will hold its value. Before shipping, it looks great. If you look over on, on eBay on how well this game has done in the secondhand market, overall, for the most part, it's been a bit of a range for sure. But it has done a decent job of holding its value if you just go by the price point of the game alone. Once you factor in $27 shipping, that changes the whole equation. This game is not going for very high above what people paid for. It's going for roughly in the range of people paid for, which does mean that I'm skeptical to hold its value once you factor in that shipping, which means if you want this game, first of all, you can get it at Miniature Market, try it out there. It'll cost $75, plus, of course, you have to get to that free shipping threshold and whatnot. But it does look like a good game. I have not played this one. I can't comment on my own opinion of it. I can say it looks like a good game. I just don't know if Kickstarter is necessarily the best place to get your hands on it. If you do want all the new stuff over there, well then, I mean, yeah, you can lock it in you can lock it in more easily. I'm just skeptical to hold its value once you factor in the shipping. But it won't do the worst either. And that's basically everything we have over here, which means it's time for the picks of the week. As usual, Picks of the week are the games I'm most, well, there's 2 picks of the week. There's going to be the pick of the week, the one that's most likely to hold its value. The game that I covered from all of these that is the most likely to hold its value. This does not mean that it's a good price point. It just means that if you're interested in getting the game, crowdfunding is a good place because this one will do well after the fact. And there's my personal interest pick of the week, the game that I am personally most interested in, regardless of whether I'm getting it on Kickstarter, regardless of whether I'm getting it at all, the game I'm personally most interested in. And to that end, the value pick of the week is going to be Deep Rock Galactic. I think just based on the numbers in this one, this is a game that is both popular, it has premium production. I think this is the value pick of the week that is most likely to hold this value down the road. And then my personal interest pick of the week is one that I am 100% going to play at some point. I'm just not getting it on crowdfunding, and that's going to be Defenders of the Wild. I like Henry Ottoman as a designer, and this art, the presentation, the theme, the combination of everything here just has me incredibly interested in Defenders of the Wild. I like co-op experiences, I like solo experiences, I like everything about this game, except for the price point on Kickstarter, but I will 100% be picking this game up at some point in some way, shape, or form, sometime. Just, I'm saying sometime, I don't know when, I don't know how, but Defenders of the Wild is 100% my pick of the week, and that's from a bunch of good games. There's a bunch of games over here I've played, I don't know, we have Aberration, which I enjoyed, Cretaceous Rails is fantastic, there's a bunch of good games over here, but my personal interest pick of the week is definitely Defenders of the Wild. And that is everything, which means as far as things coming up next week, a few things generally. First of all, we have Cascadero and Cascadito from Bitewing Games, which I'm surprised. Bitewing Games just had a crowdfunding campaign. I'm surprised they have another one so soon, but either way, this is going to be Reina Knizia giving you a new tile laying experience. Definitely very interested in this one. Looks very much like my jam. Could be, I mean, I have no clue. We'll see. We'll see. Reina Knizia has put out a bunch of amazing games. I generally love his tile laying games, but I haven't actually kept all of them. So, you know, whether or not I keep it, I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I just don't know how much I'll enjoy it, but the production of Bitewing Games has me even more interested in this one. That's going to be Cascadero and Cascadito. And then we also have a Rune Light and Darkness, which was supposed to be launching last week, but did get pushed off. So Rune Light and Darkness coming to Kickstarter October 10th October, no, the 10th, yeah, 10th October, soon, very, very soon, it's coming to Kickstarter. And that is everything. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Thanks so much for being with me throughout this whole video, and as always, I hope you have a good one. I was in the market for a sofa this past week, so I went to my local store, and the salesperson showed me a gorgeous couch, and he said to me, "This couch will fit 5 people without any problems." I laughed and walked out. Where am I going to find 5 people without any problems?